Cheers. Hey everyone, I'm Tim, and I've just finished a 9-month odyssey around Latin America. Now I'm reopening my diaries, and this time I'm bringing you along with me. Week by week, country by country, all the colors, all the craziness, all the food, all the music, and all the splendor. 9 months when each morning was a new adventure. The road was my companion, and Latin America cast its spell on me. This is my Latin America Diaries. Welcome back to my Latin America Diaries. A few days before I headed to Isla Holbox and Cancun, from Merida, I took a trip out to the town of Sisal, a coastal town on the Yucatan Peninsula. A friend of mine had told me about it and put me in touch with Kev, a local entrepreneur. Kev is a wonderful person, kind, warm, passionate, and deeply committed to the development and future of Sisal. He's working hard to promote Sisal as a sustainable tourism destination, and his enthusiasm for the town is absolutely infectious. To get to Sisal from Merida, it took me about 2 hours, and I had to take 2 separate minivans, but on the way back, I was able to get a direct bus. Sisal is only a small town, but it is a strikingly beautiful place, with stunning, unspoilt coastal beaches and an interesting lagoon area teeming with wildlife. And this is the place where Kev wants to attract tourists to show them the real Yucatan Peninsula. Want to see more? Make sure that you like this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to receive updates and notifications when I upload new videos as part of this series. And if you like what you're seeing, please share my content and tell your friends and family about it. It would really mean a lot to me. So that's how I ended up in Sisal. I met Kev near his house, and then we made our way to the center of town and then had a lovely seafood lunch, freshly caught, of course, right near the center of town overlooking the Caribbean.
Provechito. So this is the garlic.
So what are we
shrimps.
eating? What are we eating here?
Garlic fried shrimps.
Delicious. And what do you have?
Ceviche, mixed ceviche with fillet fish and shrimps.
Lovely. Okay. And then I've got the garlic shrimps as well. All locally caught and everything as well. Amazing. Okay. All right.
Tastes really good.
That is fresh. That's so good. All right. Let's try the ceviche.
The consistency of the...
Yeah, exactly. All right. Let's try the ceviche. Thank you very much. Like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. Fresh fish fillet.
That's delicious. Wow. So this is the first ceviche that I have had in Mexico.
Really? Nice.
I saw it in some other places, but I was kind of waiting until I came to the coast.
To the beach, yeah, to the coast.
I'm like, I'm not going to eat ceviche in Mexico City if I'm coming to Yucatan.
Yeah.
So good.
Of course.
So I'm told that this place is actually, at the moment, I mean, this is winter, right? So it's November, it's late November, and it's sort of 30 degrees and sunny. But actually, the water is not as clear as it normally is, because normally at the moment it's hurricane season, and you'll see see how the water looks kind of a bit milky, I guess. I mean, it's still gorgeous. Afterward, we took a walk out on the pier.
It's located in the coast of Yucatan. This is also Riviera Maya, because all the Mayan area is the Riviera Maya.
Right, yeah.
So, but this is just a barely new town, and this is an unexplored paradise. So now we're gonna explore this destination.
It's stunning, and we're starting here on the pier in Sisal.
Yeah, this is the main touristic pier. So this is the main avenue of the town. So the town is really small. Four blocks away is the entrance, and now 4 blocks far away we are in the pier.
And I can't believe he calls this winter.
Yeah, it's warm.
It's so warm. Look, he's here in a shirt, I'm here in a t-shirt. This is absolutely gorgeous. I think I found paradise. I think we need to explore.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Today we're going to explore everything about Sisal. So I'm going to show you everything you should need about touristic and the future of Sisal.
I can't wait. Like, honestly, I think I'm going to stay here. Let's explore and then we'll decide.
From here we start the tours.
Okay.
So
what's it like here? I mean, is this crowded at the moment, or
no. To be honest, bro, many years ago, before this place get touristic,
the
the people were like too much. Bro, that lighthouse it's like historical one because under that lighthouse is based on the, it's like a kind of castle. We call it in Spanish baluarte.
Okay.
And it's where native people in the past were using to protect from pirates. And from here, Sisal has more than 5 or 7 kilometers over there.
So basically, like the whole town exists on like this line between the beach and the mangroves.
Yeah, the mangroves of the ocean.
Yeah.
And it's a coastal line, surrounded by water in the front to the north with the ocean. And in the south, we have the water of the mangrove. Sisal became Magic Town in 2020, December. So it has barely 4 years of being Magic Town.
Okay.
So it's really new. We have experimented the first 4 years of being Magic Town.
And can you tell me, like, what is Magic Town basically? What what does the designation do?
Yeah, we have the Secretary Bureau of Tourism designated some places in the Mexico country, mainly towns, to develop tourism. They designate some of the towns as Magic Towns. This is a touristic program by federal government.
Okay.
So when they designated one town to become Magic Town, we call it in Spanish Pueblos Mágicos.
Okay.
Yeah. They receive income from the government taxes to develop. So they build new roads, electricity infrastructure, and many other characteristics to develop this place. So they receive main of everything, promotion, and then investment in infrastructure.
I can understand why they call this a magic town. I mean, it is paradise. It is absolutely, and I actually kind of can't believe that I didn't know about this place before. Like,
it's really barely new.
Yeah,
so
and I feel
it
like
doesn't figure it in the maps. As other places. So this is gonna be one of the destinations that is gonna be famous as Tulum. When you become Magic Town, you become Magic Town because you have history. Here was the first port of Yucatan in the conquest period.
Really?
Yeah. The first one was in Campeche. And then they decided to move it here because Campeche was more on that side. Really inner to the peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico. And this place is in the corner of the peninsula, in the left corner. So from here you should go to Cuba to this way.
Also, basically, Cuba
is around this area. Yeah. If we sail on this direction, we will reach Cuba and all that.
Amazing. Okay.
So what we see now is part of the letters have draws, paintings.
Yeah, and can you tell me about them?
Yeah. Here in the Pirates of the Caribbean should be filmed here. Because this was the period when the pirates, when they discovered New World. Many pirates decided to steal what they bring out on the earth.
Of course,
and steal it in the ocean. So many pirates used to be there.
Okay.
So that's the Emperor Charlotte, from from Hungary. They arrived here. She arrived here. And that the letter A you see over there. It's a religious procession.
Of course,
Christ.
Okay.
This religious image was found on the ocean in the coast. So people of the place think this place was blessed because of this, receiving this. Because in some moment one ship was attacked by pirates. Was born. And all the things were floating in the water. So one of the Christian
like missionaries or something.
With the Christ.
All right.
Floating here in the coast.
It just arrived.
It just arrived floating. And then do a procession in the boats in March. This is in summer. They do a procession. You can see like 100 boats on the ocean.
Really?
I have some images for you.
Amazing. Thank you. You can.
It's like a water procession.
Many
boats going
That's
on
awesome.
the water.
I really am here in the wrong month.
Maybe
I'll need to come back. Okay, and then obviously the last one is the lighthouse. And over here?
This is an old house that has a monument on the top.
Okay.
They have rumors about this figure. They say it's called the Monifato. Some people say is this person, like rock takes a life.
Really?
And go walking in the town. Some people have seen it, but they say also this was like the sign of the family, like some monument that distinguished the family. And some other people think they put it on the top of the building to make the ships to shoot to the last part.
All the way in.
To avoid being hitting. So people were thinking, but I'm not that on that theory.
You don't believe that?
I think it's more like the symbol of the family.
Awesome. But the main attraction that day was the Sunset Mangrove Tour. It took us through the lagoon, which is located between the mainland and the spit on which Sisal town is located. We went to the place where we would be taking the canoes out from.
In case the crocodile is eating you, please whistle.
This is really exciting. So we've just seen, we are about to head into the green raft thing under there. Kev is going to be in the canoe.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna be in the kayak. You're gonna be in the canoe.
I'm in the kayak.
Do you wanna be with me in the kayak?
I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to be in the kayak. So, and we are.
So we go first, and then you go in this canoe.
Okay.
Go there, bro. Yeah. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Here we go.
Looks really wild, right?
Right? Yeah, really wild. I was told that it's possible to see crocodiles in certain parts of the mangroves, so from the beginning we were on the lookout. We paddled through a canal cut through the mangroves until suddenly the trees opened up and we were out in the center of the estuary. It was there that we began watching the sunset, and it was absolutely breathtaking. So far we haven't seen any flamingos except for the 3 that we saw on the street side on the way in. But still, this is like such an amazing experience. Look at this place. Like, we're the only ones out here. It's... You know, in all my life, I never thought that I would be traveling through the mangroves on the Yucatan Peninsula. I feel really spoiled, actually. This is like truly once in a lifetime experience kind of thing. The sun slowly sinking into the horizon, the clouds forming a beautiful tapestry above us in hues of lilac, peach, coral and mauve, painted across the evening sky. Here, only 5 weeks into my trip, I was already witnessing what would be one of the most spectacular sunsets of the entire journey. Occasionally, the pilot, who was pushing our canoes, would stop paddling and just let us glide across the reflective surface of the estuary. It was so quiet, save for the occasional squawk of the bird. Speaking of birds, the estuary is full of bird life. One of the pilots took us to the edge of an island that was covered in mangroves and buzzing with bird life. We got quite close to giant pelicans perched in the trees, though we were careful not to disturb them. As I mentioned, this whole operation is concerned with sustainable tourism and protecting Sisal's environment. We also approached an island where supposedly crocodiles live, but I didn't see any. There was one moment where Kev and one of the guides said that they had spotted one, but in the darkness, I missed it. It's gone now. I've done some pretty adventurous stuff, but I think this is probably one of the most adventurous that I've ever done. Eventually, the tour took us back towards the starting point in the mangrove forest. On the way back there, we made a diversion into another part of the mangrove forest that we hadn't previously been to. Apparently in that region, a mother crocodile had recently given birth to babies. However, we didn't see them. Kev then said that we would head out later that night again to go crocodile spotting late at night when they are more likely to be active. It was an experience. I've never done something like that before. And for everyone who has gone and seen crocodiles in like zoos or wildlife parks or something like this, I win. One of the fascinating things about Sisal is that it's kind of a vision of what places like Cancun and Tulum might have looked like before the onset of mass tourism. And that's why it's so important to ensure that as Sisal becomes better known, it's done in a responsible way. It's beautiful, unspoiled, unique, and special. And it's a rare opportunity to visit a place like this and get the development right from the very beginning. Later that night, Kev and I headed down to Sisal Beach, where we watched the moon rise over the Caribbean. Later still, we headed back to the mangroves, got into a canoe, just the two of us this time, and went crocodile spotting in the dark.
We are doing a night safari to look for crocodiles. We are located at the Mangrove.
It is 10 o'clock at night and we are going crocodile hunting, so this is one hell of an adventure, and it's all thanks to this guy. We spent about 45 minutes out on the estuary. Once again, Kev said that he saw a crocodile's eyes reflecting in the light. Apparently their eyes shine in a beam of light before they sink down to hide. Apparently they're quite timid animals unless provoked. Kev told me that it was there, but by the time I looked, it had disappeared down into the murky darkness. I was told that the water in the estuary that night was also quite high. There are times of the year when the water is shallower, which makes crocodile sightings much easier. Eventually, we gave up and headed back towards the town of Sisal to turn in for the night, but not before dropping in to say hello to some people who were having a party at their house by the waterside.
¿Venden cerveza, amigos?
Igual andamos buscando. Venga, venga, hasta eso vamos a ir a comprar ahorita. Venga, venga.
The next morning we woke up early and headed down towards the beach. I knew what was coming and I was excited. We picked up supplies along the way. I was getting a behind-the-scenes look at what Kev does. He's incredibly organized and professional, and he creates experiences that are truly unique. I mean, I never thought that I would be crocodile spotting at nearly midnight in the backwaters of a town in Mexico, but there I was. We headed to the pier where a boat was waiting. We boarded and spent about 30 minutes skimming just beyond the breakers to a spot offshore near the mouth of the estuary. And there, Kev and the crew began setting up our brunch in the middle of the ocean.
Okay, I think that we've done well. I think this is paradise.
And let it be known that this is my first time taking a dip in the Caribbean/Atlantic. So I feel at this moment that I have truly arrived. They carried trestle tables, chairs, and food, setting everything up, white tablecloths and everything, for us to eat ceviche and tacos out in the middle of the Caribbean.
This is the area where we're gonna eat today. Our brunch, Mayan brunch.
This is luxury.
Yeah,
This is
natural luxury.
Natural
So
luxury.
if you look around, bro, just around us, you will see this is the water coming from outside the mangrove. That's why it's like that color. And
Yeah,
this
because
is
you
the
can see it
water from the
fading
ocean.
into the ocean. I haven't even sat down at the table yet, and already I can tell you that in terms of the things that I've done in life, I mean, this is superlative. This is like, I don't know, I feel like it's uber luxury. I feel like I'm in heaven. I don't have words. And this is not the first time on this trip that I've been lost for words. This is just like, wow. I'm about to have a Mayan brunch in the middle of the Caribbean. Who would have thought? Cheers. Just FYI, trying to do this with one hand is not the easiest, but, you know, the things that we do to influence. And then, like this.
That is so fresh. Just the right amount of coriander in there. There is so much flavor in each bite.
We had alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink options, coconut water and a local beer called Efecto Sisal, the Sisal effect. And by then I was really starting to understand why it was named that. Sitting in the shallows at the mouth of the estuary, eating ceviche that had been caught and prepared that morning, it was absolute perfection. One of those moments I almost can't believe happened. Peak Instagram influencer material, yet it was totally real. Once brunch was finished, it wasn't over. It was back onto the boat and the tour continued. We headed up through the mouth of the estuary into the lagoon that we had visited the night before. This time we were heading to the Ojo de Agua, a freshwater spring hidden amongst the mangrove jungle. We crossed the estuary, passing a group of flamingos standing in the water. My friend, who had recommended me this tour and put me in touch with Kev, she and I have always shared a dream of seeing flamingos in the wild, so of course I had to take a picture and send it to her. Their bright pink plumage contrasted beautifully against the dark greens and blues of the landscape, glowing in the clear daylight. From there, we turned into the stream that leads to the freshwater spring. As the light filtered through the mangrove canopy, the water turned a turquoise blue. We passed other boats heading back, but it never felt crowded. Now going through the mangroves, and it appears that the water has completely cleared, and they've described it as sweet water. So we're now just passing through this. This is unreal. Like, it's so clear. When we arrived, we got out and dived straight into the waterhole. We could swim right over the very spot where the water bubbles up from below. Slightly warm, but not a hot spring. The crocodiles in this part of Mexico are mostly saltwater crocodiles, so they rarely venture into freshwater streams. This meant that we could swim safely, a little island of solitude in the mangroves. Kev, being an adventurer like me, suggested snorkelling on the way back from the freshwater spring downstream, allowing the current to take us back to the mouth of the estuary. Of course I said yes.
Okay, that was an experience, and I survived. We survived. Kev, he's alive and he also has my sunglasses. So, but survived. Amazing. Mexico, I think, is my new favorite destination. Sisal, particularly, is my new favorite destination.
We piled back into the main boat and then started making our way back past the flocks of flamingos. And then, as if right on cue, there it was. We spotted a crocodile.
Swimming there. Bro, over there.
Yeah. See? Can you see? What's that in the water? And as if the day wasn't perfect enough, we were then joined by these friendly dolphins alongside the boat on the way back to Sisal. We arrived back into the town of Sisal later that afternoon. I was rather sunburnt, but this experience was totally worth it. Absolutely sensational. If you want to know more about Sisal or book yourself a trip there, I'd recommend getting in touch with Kev. I've included the details for his YouTube channel in the video description below, as well as his website, so that you can book one of these magical experiences on the Caribbean of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. While I was there, Kev was kind enough to put me up at his place and I stayed the night in a hammock. So thank you so much, Kev, for that. However, if you're planning a trip there are plenty of Airbnbs available in the town. Just look them up. To experience a place of such natural beauty still untouched by mass tourism, to have brunch out in the middle of the ocean, to float down a freshwater stream through a mangrove forest, to go crocodile spotting in the middle of the night. These are the kinds of out-of-the-box experiences and adventures that Sisal offers. I truly hope that Kev continues to shape the future of tourism in Sisal. People who work hard and, better still, do it ethically deserve recognition. And I know that that's exactly what Kev is doing in Sisal. Thank you for the marvelous experience and also for the work that you do for responsible tourism in places like this. I wish you every bit of success in putting Sisal on the map. And in case anyone out there is left wondering, yes, the Sisal effect is absolutely real. And then it was time to leave Mexico. I had spent 5 weeks traveling around this marvelous country. I had attended parades in the capital city, walked through cemeteries to witness the Day of the Dead, explored jungles and Mayan ruins hidden deep within them, fallen asleep on beaches on Caribbean islands, and even had a run-in with paramilitary forces. All in all, Mexico was an unforgettable experience, as tasty and tantalizing as the spiciest, most delicious taco that you have ever bitten into. But, like all good things, it was time for this to come to an end. Now, at the end of the last vlog for every country that I visit, I'm going to do a rapid fire round, talking about my favorite places and things from each country. So, here we go. Favorite food? Tacos. I ate them all over Mexico and they taste better from the street. I don't think I ever had a bad one. Favorite place? That's a tough one, but it's a toss-up between the Yucatan Peninsula with the beaches and cenotes, the Mayan ruins in the jungles in Palenque and Yaxchilan, and Oaxaca. Favorite city? Oaxaca City, without a doubt. And I haven't even mentioned the Day of the Dead yet. That experience was like stepping into another world. When I visited Morelia and Pátzcuaro, I didn't feel like I was just visiting towns. I felt like that whole experience was defined by it being during the Day of the Dead. Those are some memories that I will cherish forever. And if you have any questions about my time in Mexico, please ask me about them in the comments below. I'll try and get back to every one of you. And thank you so much for watching all of these vlogs from Mexico. Next in Latin America Diaries, it is time to reveal the next country on my list. I flew from Cancun International Airport towards the city of Medellin in Colombia. Stay tuned.